Namaskar, warm greetings from DELNET Developing Library Network, New Delhi, India. Distinguished speaker, Dr. Shantanu Ganguly, Director, Library Operations and Services at Ashoka University, Sonipat, Haryana. Well-known library experts, library and information science professionals, computer science and IT professionals, educational administrators, IQAC heads, faculty members, researchers, scholars, students, my colleagues here at DELNET New Delhi and also its coordination units at Bangalore, Hyderabad and Pune, ladies and gentlemen. I, Sangeeta Kaul, Director DELNET, on behalf of DELNET, extends a very warm hearty welcome to each one of you for joining us today from different parts of India and many other countries across the globe, including from Bhutan, Canada, Pakistan, UAE, to today's webinar on user-centric services and UX design, which will shortly be delivered by our esteemed speaker, Dr. Shantanu Ganguly. We would like to, express our very sincere warm thanks and gratitude to each one of you for a very overwhelming response to today's webinar session, as we have witnessed more than 1,300 participants who have registered, for today's webinar. At the very outset, on behalf of DELNET, I take an immense pleasure in welcoming, Dr. Shantanu Ganguly, a longtime professional associate and a great well-wisher of DELNET to today's webinar session, and for agreeing to our request in joining us. In spite being in holiday, Shantanu has been able to take out time for us, and we are indeed so very grateful to you, Dr. Shantanu, and we remain ever, we truly, remain always admired and appreciate, your cooperation to DELNET, and it's an enormous, pleasure for us to have you on this platform today. Thank you so very much indeed, on behalf of each one of us. It's a moment for me, now to formally introduce Dr. Shantanu Ganguly, though a person like him, who is making, profound contributions in the field of library and information sciences, he doesn't really require a very formal introduction, as he's being known as the person who has brought many new concepts, to the field of libraries and to make each one of us aware about it. And also he's a synonym to many of the most emergent topics that we have ever witnessed in libraries. And let me just say, as the library marketing skills, he has been the person for years altogether, has devoted and brought all those concepts into the libraries. But I will still make an humble attempt, with the permission of our esteemed speaker, Dr. Shantanu, to make you all know that Dr. Shantanu Ganguly is currently the Director at Library Operations and Services at Ashoka University, which is one of the most acclaimed university in the country. He's undoubtedly a more seasoned and well-known library and information management expert, and having a vast experience of more than 3 decades to his credit. He's a multifaceted professional who has a rare distinction of having a versatile experience in teaching research, besides also having led the most prestigious institutions in India, including the libraries of Terry, AIIMS Delhi, Indian Institute of Management, Lucknow. Dr. Shantanu has made tremendous contributions to the world of libraries and academics and research by spearheading 16 government-funded research projects, 10 international funded projects. He has to his credit 2 patents, 4 successful PhD completions, which really speaks volumes of his unparalleled contributions. He has also been instrumental in conceptualizing unique professional development programs. And just to name a few, it includes on managerial skills, marketing skills, social media, digital market skills, entrepreneurial skills, knowledge management skills, and many more. He has contributed immensely to 6 editions of ICDL conferences as an organizer. His core competency in capacity building and research areas are highly notable, as he was associated as a program coordinator for TERISAS, EPG Pathshala, Academic Counselor of IGNOU and VCMOU Quota, and also the UNDP funded project of C for All, SWAYAM, and many more. He has to his credit more than 25 research papers and book chapters. He has also been bestowed with a number of awards and recognitions for his praiseworthy contributions. It's always such a great pleasure and honor to have you, Dr. Shantanu, with us. And let me once again, on behalf of DELNET and each one of us here who are being connected on this wonderful platform, and to have you, and thank you so very much in making it possible for us to have your presence with us today. And let me also once again, on behalf of DELNET, express a very warm, sincere gratitude, thanks, and beyond any expression, the enormous support for not only years and decades. It has been the most relentless support, the unwavering support that you have been, and such a great friend of DELNET. We always, always greatly, value your stupendous support to us. Thank you so very much. I don't want to stand between you and our, colleagues over here who are eagerly wanting now to hear from you. May I have a pleasure of requesting Dr. Shantanu now to start the proceedings of today's webinar session. It's over to you, Shantanu.
Thank you very much for that illustrious explanation of my credentials. I'm still a lifelong learner till date, and whenever I find time, I generally want to, coming back like that because I always remember my late Dr. H.K. He is kind of a mentor to me. We met a lot. We had a lot of associations, sessions, and now that you are spearheading the entire DELNET, so obviously you are also on the same board. So I believe it is always it's my pleasure. I should that coming back to DELNET and giving my experience or thought or sharing with the August gathering. Today I'm going to talk on a very interesting area which I started working, and it is I find that this is an area where everybody needs to plunge in to look into more and more. So what's exactly is a user-centric service? Basically, we are in a service industry. We provide services to our different stakeholders. So we need to understand the user-centric, what is the kind of services should be provided, and which is also directly related to UX. UX means the user's experience. What the user's experiences from the different kinds of platforms and all, that's a very important area to understand. Sangeeta, I'm sure you can see all my slides.
Very much, Shantanu. Very much, yes.
Okay, thank you. So I'll start with an interesting quote by Alvin Toffler, which he has written very interesting 3 books, out of which this quote was from PowerShock, where the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Today, I think we are going to learn something, we are going to unlearn something, and we are going to relearn something, as Alvin Toffler had said. So my discussion points would be on these areas. I'll be giving you in a very small capsule, like what is exactly the UX design, why it is important and all. I will also, take you through a small journey of design thinking in the LIS fields and all, and also a new framework which has come up in a very big way, which is called as Octalysis framework, and a gamification model, and a small case study will also I'll present in front of everybody now. Now, over the years, I have worked, as Sangeeta already mentioned, that I have worked with various kinds of stakeholders. One of the library stakeholders was All India Institute of Medical Sciences, where I interacted with the doctors, nursing, and the medical laboratory professionals. On the other hand, when I was working with Terry, I have dealt with the research consultants who are in the fields of sustainable development goals. The third was currently I am all the different kind of library stakeholders are there, where you have the faculty, you have the students, you have the researchers, you have distinguished fellows, different kinds of stakeholders are there. So every organization and institutions, I came across a different type of stakeholders, different type of users who are using the library and their resources extensively. Now, one of the major thrust, which is a kind of a conclusion from, for my long journey for 3 decades in this profession, is one is content, second is the context, third is the technology, and the fourth is the service. These 4 components are nothing but 4 pillars in today also. And I looked into some of the, when I was in AIMS, I looked into, they were more into healthcare. Now, when I worked in the Terry, it was more on sustainability. Different SDG goals were addressed. And currently, when I am working in Ashoka, I find that a lot of interdisciplinary work, this interdisciplinary subject areas are being covered. So there is a transition is taking place as far as the content, context, technology, and the service is concerned. So as a library professional, it is extremely important for all of us to cross the border, see what is happening outside the library block. We cannot, we can't be confined ourselves within four walls. We need to see how the people are working, how the different people, stakeholders are working. I mean, it is really a very, very big thing. And it is not only in our industry, but in all industry. If you see any private industry, if you see any governments, today they always look at to see beyond the four walls what exactly is happening and how do we address the different types of the needs and the wants of the different stakeholders to bring it a certain level of satisfaction. You can, by the way, you cannot have 100% satisfaction. You never will have 100% satisfaction. There is always a room for improvement is always there. So what is most important in today's library context, in all the libraries also, I find that we need a transformation strategy. And this transformation strategy, in fact, in Ashoka University also, when I joined here, I find that I should come up with some transformation. So I started working into it. Currently, I am trying to build up a entire library, what is called a library strategy handbook. I'm developing where I'm looking at it from a different perspective. I'm putting on the shoes of the stakeholders and try to look at it from on a different level. And the entire transformation strategy is going to be based on content, context, technology, and the service which we provide to the stakeholders. So we need to re-engineer our vision. It is extremely important. We cannot have the same old myopic glasses, and now we have to see it from a different way. We have to really re-engineer the visions and all. So there was a, I was going through some of the resources and I find there is a source called Talkwalker, and where there was a question was raised: are we listening enough? What our stakeholders wants? So they carried out different types of interviews, focus groups interviews. There is a general interview, there is a focus groups interviews. There are surveys, there are emails, chats, call data, there's a NPS, there is customer reviews, there's a blogs, there is social media listening. So voice of the customer, the voice of the stakeholder, the voice of the user is the most primary thing to make any radical change in your resources, in your content, context, technology, and the service. So customer centricity, the user centricity is at the core. The feedback drives continuous improvement. Empower the frontline. The librarian of an organization, of a university, of an institution could be a very powerful guy with, maybe 7 to 8 degrees. But the person who's the very front line, who's sitting in the circulation counter, or who is the first person to meet my stakeholders, is he empowered enough to take a decision? Is he empowered, knowledgeable enough to address the requirements of my stakeholders? That's where the challenge is. Designing the experience, metrics that matter, everything has to be calculative. Today we need to calculate, look into everything in a very, very meticulous way. Understanding what is their requirement, and we have a customer focused leadership is required in today's context. So many of the, in fact, I'm not talking about others, but when I look at myself in today in Ashoka, strategic planning for an organizational transformation is required. And that I talk about organization means MI from my library perspective. What is the engagement model I have developed? Organizational effectiveness. What is that execution? What is the borderless impact? What is the culture which is building? So there is maybe I have developed a strategy document. It was in 2020, but are we working towards a transformation strategy that what it would be after 10 years from now, 20 years from now, or maybe a 50 years from now? See, I may not be there, but if a foolproof strategy document is there, so it will be an eye opener for my other predecessors. So that is going to be a very, very important aspect to look at the organizational transformation strategy on a customer, on a stakeholder point of view. It's a very important thing. So what we need to be a little smart, and when we talk about little smart, what are the kind of smartness we are talking about? It has to be sustainable, it has to be measurable, it has to be achievable, it has to be reliable, and it has to be transformation. This is the way this acronym SMART I define and I try to implement in my library also. So we have to be a game changers leading in a very fast changing world. So when we talk about these game changers, there are 10 ways you can do it. First, think, change the vision document. Explore, change your market. Then disruption, then inspire, then design, resonate. Try to resonate your change your story. Enable, change your experience. Mobilize, change your relationship. Sustain, and then amplify. These are the 10 ways one can develop a package program to become a game changer in an LIS profession too. So if I talk about in today's customers, the digital transformation is all about creating a digital experience for your customers. So what changes in the digital era? It is the reach. It is the speed. So if you have changed the reach and the speed, then you have to change the scale also. So people will come back to you. You can really reach out to numbers and numbers and numbers of people on that. So what changes in the digital organizations, what we are looking at? Habits of the customers may change, but their interests and needs are similar. It is necessary to understand their expectations. If you do not understand their expectations, then you have not done enough. I'll give you a case study and you will see that what are the things I have looked into on those areas. The question is, how do we identify those opportunities and we detect the threats also in this case? So 5 trust areas I have identified. One is content. All your users identify, all your clients identify with a purpose or a mission that transcends the business, the work they are going to perform, the work they are going to do. So that is very important. Speed, clients expect reaction capacity in terms of action and communication. Third is transparency, detect and correct the error before the client does it. And the client tells you that, yes, you have done a problem. So before he tells you that, I think it is better that you get it clear. Fourth is innovation. Being the best in the category is not enough in a highly competitive market. So you have to constantly innovate to bring in new things into the problem. Performance in the digital world, everything can be measured and corrected at every moment. So one of the important report I came across, which is called Gensler's report, and where they found that it is not going to be a collection-centric library. And they did the survey and they said it has to be a people-centric library. And those ranked the highest were based on certain parameters, like for example, community and social service, decentralize the library space, more pop-ups and book mobiles, low-touch kiosk, drive-up pickup, webinar-based story times and programs, technology integrated conference space available to the community, and then the remote reference and information services. Now I will take all of you towards a very interesting area. I mean, you can say that I'm still a learner on this area. It's called UX design. UX is basically, it's a part of design thinking, the user experience. It's an approach as well as a mindset. When you are talking about a product or a service, please remember there are 3 vital components of it: desirability, viability, and feasibility. Design thinking is completely a creative approach or a series of steps that will help you meaningful solutions for your library. Design thinking solutions exist at, so these are the 3 intersections. And when the solution is desirable, it's financially viable, and it's technologically feasible, innovation happens where these factors overlap. So you need to understand the desirability, the viability, and the feasibility of it. So the background is a user-centric design. The development of new technology has given profound changes in a society. Like, for example, transforming how we access and process the information, how we adapt our environment, how we communicate with others, how we are able to solve the problems, and how we work and live. So user-centric design or UX is completely is based on these 5 important components into it. And we, the library professionals, when we are using a different types of technologies, or maybe those 4 components which I talk about: content, context, technology, and service, we should have all these 5 components in our mind. The most important thing in a design thinking or a UX, user-centric design thinking, is educate, innovate, and create. So it is depending upon, so design thinking is a concept. Please remember, it's a solution focused thinking. You bring out a solution for your stakeholders, and for your stakeholders or clients or users, whatever you call it. It has 2 major components. I'll explain: divergent and convergent thinking. I'll tell you exactly what exactly means divergent and convergent thinking, and then the design thinking stages like immersion, ideation, and prototyping and all. Solution focused thinking means what? If you tell people where to go, but you don't direct the people how to get there, end of the day, you will be amazed to see the results. And I'm telling you, this is a very, very important area, the direction panels. In fact, I could have used a video where, based on this concept in Japan, somebody has introduced what is called a small robot to give a solutions to the user when he enters a library. And the robot is playing a very, very pragmatic role towards this, giving an answer to this. Doing a helping hand, giving a helping hand to your stakeholders. That makes a very, very different thing. So convergent questions means just start with information. You have the pieces of information everywhere. Converge them, bring them together to bring out the solutions. Whereas divergent questions is very different, because it depends upon what kind of solution you are looking for, what kind of problem you are looking for. So start with a prompt and generate the multiple solutions of it. Like, for example, if you are developing a chatbot, so if you are developing a chatbot for your library, generate the multiple solutions for it. So if it is not only the asking for the, in fact, when we develop a chatbot, we find there is a large number of questions are generated, but these questions are segregated into small 6-7 areas of capsules. So because your user, your stakeholder, has a certain requirement to fulfill, how do you fulfill that? That's where the thing is. So divergence means problem sensing and defining it. So you sense a problem is there, so you define it. Catalyzing further ideas, so you bring together everybody together. And especially in this case, what is most important, in fact in other cases also, you bring in the user on board, incubate on the ideas and sharing the differences of opinion, where exactly you can fulfill. And the challenging the absence, when the convergence part is a very challenging one, because you are defining the options, you are making a decisions, mobilizing it for action, and then you review it. So you can imagine, so it's a case-to-case basis. In some places you would be a divergent, in some places you may be a convergent. So it's always a case-to-case basis, depending upon your perspective in an organization where you are working on it. There are certain fundamentals of design thinking, fundamentals. In fact, I'll be coming up with a complete MDP course on this now. I'm just giving you a capsule of this. See, there are a couple of components which you need to understand as far as design thinking fundamentals is concerned. One is empathizing. Second is defining. Third is your ideation. Fourth is your prototyping. Fifth is your testing. And the sixth one is your implementation. Empathizing and defining, where you need an understanding of the things, understanding of the problems, and exploring the various, and ideate and prototype comes under exploration, and test and implements where you materialize and you come up with the solution for the problem which you have thought of. So design thinking, please remember, it is a process. There is a process involved in it. So process one, learn about your audience, with whom you are empathizing. Construct point of view based on users' needs. You have to construct the points. See, there would be a lot of things would be coming, and in fact, sometimes you will have a lot of noise is also there. So you have to club. You have to club the different users' needs. You have to put together into different capsules, even different clusters, and then you will be able to address that. You have to do an ideation, brainstorm, and come up with creative solutions. Prototyping, build representation of your ideas, and then ultimately you test your ideas as a pilot and see whether your process was absolutely fantastic, or it needs a thorough revision, or it needs a radical change. Don't think that it will go in a one go, it will be done. So please remember, so the entire analysis of synthesis is on prototyping, then you immersion and ideation. Preliminary immersion means define and reframe the problem, develop an understanding of the context. Whereas in-depth immersion means identify the needs and opportunities. What do people say when you have come up with something? Say, for example, you have developed a website, you have developed a portal, you have developed a blog. What do people say? How do they act when they first see it? Or probably you have developed a mobile library app. How do they act? How do they perceive it? How do they think? And how do they feel? This is called as in-depth immersion. So some is going to be a preliminary immersion, which is at the top level, and some is going to be an in-depth immersion into that, where you plunge into the water and try to find out, try to get an answer from these questions on your problems. So there are two phases are there in the entire implementation. The first phase is called inspiration phase, where the divergent thinking, so you have done the data collections, and convergent insights into re-articulations. So you have collected the data, now you're putting together and bringing it together at one place. Whereas in ideation phase, a lot of ideas gets generated. In fact, there is Professor Nonaka and Takeuchi from the Kobayashi University, he has started a new concept called idea management now. So they're running a course on idea management. So the idea gets generated. Say it is like, I'll give you an answer to it. There was a book I will refer. There was a concept which is given. It is just like there's a universal law of energy. That energy is neither created nor destroyed, but it is transformed from one form to another. So Alex Pentland, on the nickname is Alex Pentland, in one of his books, I'll show you that, he says remove the word energy and put the word idea there and see how does it reflect. So if you reiterate that same law, idea is neither created nor destroyed, but it is transformed from one form to another. So today, one idea, like for example, WhatsApp, if you see the entire history of WhatsApp, that idea never liked by anybody. But today, I think we cannot survive without a WhatsApp. So it's a generation, idea generation comes out. And convergent is a concept development. So automatically your idea finishes, and then comes your implementation phase where really you bring in the things. So like for example, we had hundreds of mobiles and all. So the first and the foremost thing is you design and develop a prototype of that. If you do not do that, you cannot come up with a very interesting thing on this. So design thinking is characterized by integrating the professional knowledge and experience from different fields to help the teams work together to develop a feasible solutions. It emphasizes on user-centeredness and helps designers better understand the user needs through 5 steps. Design thinking can construct complex problems, I'm telling you, actively discover and define them, continuously organize creative thinking to find out the most appropriate solutions to it. I'll show you a very interesting case study I came across. I thought, let me, share with you, which is completely on UX. It was done by the National Taipei University of Technology in Taiwan. It's a very interesting case study. The department, they have started a department of interaction design. Now, it's a highly technical university, and they have done an in-depth research in the field of UX for libraries. And that is what I'm going to present you the case study today. So this is a design thinking. Please remember, this is a workshop they have conducted, a design thinking case study. The objectives of the study was to integrate the children's cognitive mapping behavior and smart space navigation cross-domain design, to integrate the library's thematic categorical knowledge framework with children's cognitive load, to construct a virtual real integrated interface level planning, and also to promote cross-cultural design thinking and collaborate to stimulate human-computer interaction and creativity. So how it all started? So what they do, they have broken the entire team into two. In fact, I would request many of you can also do the same. I can share the case study also, and you can also play the same thing. The teams were divided into two groups, Group A and Group B. So these two groups, they were given 6 weeks time to brainstorm on the problem through a design thinking process, which was developed by IDEO. IDEO is a very big organization, is a leading organization in the world who works on design thinking process or UX and UI. So preparation before the workshop. So what they have done, the team leader introduced and brought into the topic. Now, what they want is, like, for example, children's library, the imagination of a children's smart library, guiding the research team to imagine individually the virtual and real integration wearable watch navigation visualization in children's library, book searching with topic category and standalone navigation in children augmented reality library, and library 2.0 children's smart library crowd intelligence interactive interface and the systems. So the process was divided into these 5 steps, as we have done it in the past, we have learned in the past. Empathizing, trying to understand the target audience. The researchers in this group empathize the users through desk research as a preceding research method and going field research in libraries. Defining, creating specific and clear directions for future works. The researchers clearly defined the user profiles and their needs after the field research. Third is ideation. So designers will produce new ideas to solve the specific problems. The workshop also assisted in the sticky notepad method in physical as well as in online collaborative software. Prototype was using materials and tools easily accessible to make minimum viable product, that is called MVP. And Figma is used to make interaction interface prototypes in the workshop for the higher fidelity. I'll show you exactly how Figma platform works. Test, asking the users to operate the prototype to collect real reflections from users. Due to the limited time of the workshop, this step will continue for the future research. So this was the entire methodology which was followed based on design thinking for the UX. And who are our UX? Who are our users? It is nothing but the children of different age groups, and they are developing. This is a platform called Figma. This particular Figma platform was used for coming up with different types of designs for that particular thing. You can explore yourself. It is a very handy and a very drag and drop model. Nothing much programming is required and all. Only thing which is required for designing certain things is you needs a creativity. That's all. So there is a journey took place. Please try to understand this. Navigation system in the library. So A, the group A. Problem has been defined. Preceding research, what was the research done in the different? So they did a lot of research, literature search and all. What was, they did a field research, and they also looked into the feasibility analysis. And all three of them were done, and the synthesis was carried out of that particular thing. So next point was design conversion. So on the design conversion, so design highlights was a very important part, where the design highlights means the ideation came, the guidelines were set, and a prototype was developed, and ultimately they brought out a innovative solutions on based on that model. It was a very big, actually I'm just conceptualizing it here. So in the field research, to strengthen the research team's understanding of empathization and design products that are more suitable for the usage scenario, the research team went to the children's section of the new Taipei City Library in the third week to do the field research, validating various assumptions made during the ideation stage. In fact, when I was studying the case study, I found they had a very strong observational power. They observed all the young, smart, different age groups of stakeholders, that is the children, when they have started looking. So observation was a very important area. The research team observed children's age, range, behavior according to the group's needs and the situation on site. They randomly made a simple conversation with stakeholders, such as with the children, their parents, the librarians, to get the most direct reflection on the objectives which they have set up there. So this is what they exactly carried out, the field research at different zones. It was carried out in the Taipei, that Light City Library. So Group A Children's Library developed what is called as a navigation design. As a venue for information communication and dissemination, it is important for libraries to provide readers with effective book information. Traditional books are placed according to the books categories and request numbers, which lack specificity, because we put a lot of classification systems and all. So when children readers are unfamiliar with the library environment or the spatial guidelines are blurred, the complicated search method reduces children's utilization of books. So library navigation design is especially important. In this context, the theme developed by a group A is to design a smart library navigation for children in the concrete operation stage, and to provide children with an interesting virtual real integration space for creating an island theme RPG map to improve the children's books search efficiency and reduce the children's spatial cognitive load at the same time. So your classification number system was not, it may be that it is there on a traditional method, but when they are searching it, it has made them very interesting. And I'll show you that. There was an example. I'll show you that they have created the thing in a very, very interactive way. After talking to the library children, Group A found that library's existing space guidelines were still too complicated for child patrons, and children were still unable to find the books despite the help of the map. And the study showed that out of more than 30 interest lists, boys ages 8 to 15 were most interested in games, movies, music, and TV shows. Girls ages 8 to 11 also showed the second highest interest. 64% of girls claim that playing video games is part of their daily life. Therefore, after repeated discussions within the age groups to identify the pain points of the children readers, Group A produced the idea of using RPG maps to enhance the ability of children aged 7 to 12 to search for books in a much more interactive way. So the technology development, what they have done is called augmented reality. They brought in AR applications into it. A powerful intuitive aid to children's navigation system, difference between surrounding environment and the AR map through important physical signs, virtual visual icons, and it shows that the develop of the book categories, the books are there, and but images is more concentrated with children's cognition. So use different island images to represent the classification of books. When children select the books of interest, they use find this book. Navigation function to understand the path of books through AR glasses. And when users approach the bookshelf, they will receive an app prompt that the navigation is over. So you are at the point, just like your navigation of a GPS map, it tells you you have reached the correct place. Now your book is available there. You take out your AR and you get the books from there. This is what they have developed a model. You can see here, for the children's of a young age, the 3A shows the different islands represent book categories. When users use the navigation function, the app will display the bookshelves where the books are located. So every island talks about a particular area. Actually, it made it so interesting. And 3B users view the book in this way, and it shows that you go to this particular place and it shows the path, that this is the pathway you have to follow using the AR glass, and he reaches the exact point where the book is available. Now this is one group who was working to solve the problem of the children in the library. The other one did a very interesting area called Group B, gamification interface design, called octalysis framework. And when I was reading this, I was completely flabbergasted that how the person called Professor Chu has came up with this gamification model of octalysis. I'll show you that. See, we need to understand there is a very strong, two persons are very strong in his research area, which is called Piaget. Piaget, children's learning process is carried out in adapted environment, and he believed that the children are active in constructing the knowledge structure by experiencing and interacting with the world. And he emphasized that the children should learn through play rather than be passive recipients of knowledge. Whereas Tosa used a different model. This is another Professor Tosa who he used voice, characters, user interactions in a gamified way to optimize the English learning process for 4 to 5-year-old, and showed that the children's English proficiency improved significantly. So the octa-analysis framework was a very different framework. So this is the octa-analysis framework. Why does gamification work so well in driving learner engagement and behavior change in the workplace? So the octa-analysis framework says it was done by Hu-Kai Chu, I said, is an award-winning gamification design, and he's a real pioneer. I would request everybody to, if you can write to me, I can show you that. I mean, I would have taken a long hours classes only on octalysis. He realized that the games can engage us because they tap specific code drivers inherent within all of us. This motivates us to act and commit to certain activities. So he had a different motivational problem. So he came up with an octagon. That's why we call it as an octalysis. He came up with an octagon shaped model which has got 8 core drivers, and these are the 8 core drivers. It starts with epic meaning, accomplishments, empowerment, ownership, social influences, scarcity, unpredictability, and avoidance. And this is the structure of a brain. There you have a left brain and you have a right brain. So the left brain functions in a certain way and the right brain functions in a certain way. So the 8 core drivers are, this is first one, the epic meaning and calling. This is a core drive that guide us seeking a higher purpose or meaning beyond our personal goals. What is the development and accomplishment? We are driven to take our challenges to meet a desired goal, and then we accomplish it. Creative expression and feedback. The core drive explains why we seek activities to learn and express ourselves in a creative way. Ownership, this driver comes into effect when we come to possess something and believe that we own it today. Social influences relates to our inherent need to seek mentors, get approval from others, and find a companionship. Scarcity and impatience, we all been there. We always want what we can't have. We are hardwired to seek thrill in uncertainty. Our brain is reward center, lights up when we encounter novel and unexpected sensations. And the last but not the least is the loss and avoidance. This core drive is our natural aversion to losing things we have worked hard to obtain it. So this is always, there is always a fear. I'm doing an experimentation. I'm doing an innovations on a particular thing, whether I will succeed or not. So left brain and the right brain. Left brain core drives on logic, calculation, and ownership. This drives links to extrinsic motivations. Learners' behavior is solely driven by the motivation to achieve a goal or receive the reward. Like, for example, development and accomplishment. The number 2, number 4, and number 6, that is ownership and possession. And number 6 is scarcity and impatience. Whereas right brain is imagination, personal expression, and social connections. How your learners pursue actions because the activity or experience in itself is enjoyable and rewarding. So 3, 5, and 7, all the, you can say they are the even numbers, and now these are the odd numbers, 3, 5, and 7. Empowerment of creativity and feedback, social influence and relatedness, and unpredictability and curiosity. So design compete based on empathizes. Group B students summarize 3 existing pain points in conversation with the librarians at the new Taipai City network library. In the children's area, parents of children are the main users. The library's existing map navigation is not very good for children who are more used to asking librarians where books are located. Children over the age of 5 seem to be more focused on games than on reading. And after identifying the needs of the child, the group B took the pain point 3 as a design opportunity and started working on it. So group B students proposed to simplify the children's library navigation and provide a gamified experience for providing children 5 to 12 to make reading to pleasure. So the design objectives are summarized into 2: to develop an AR navigation app with gamification functions and to connect the app with AR glasses and all. So the entire app game mechanism was like this. It was a complete process. So, and what was the background? The backbone was Octalysis framework. The game mechanism of Group B focused on ownership and sense of achievement. When using the app, children could check their current progress through the garden interface and reserve the land for seeds. I can take a place. So if I want to, it is like that. I mean, I can't explain here right now. But what they are saying is, suppose, for example, I have to reserve a book. So they said I have taken this much space in the land, and I have to, belongs to me, and I have to sow the seeds there. By setting the focus time, they could obtain the game tokens and water needed for planting trees. And the game tokens could purchase seeds and other garden consumables. When users get a new game title, they will unlock more land in the garden. And at the same time, the system will distribute water and game tokens when the experience is enhanced. And children will get more rewards for completing the special task. As children read books in different categories, new seeds will appear in the system for planting. So it is worth noting that the trees planted in the garden will wither if they do not complete the set focus time, or if they do not keep the reading every day. So that is how they have, in fact, in the report, they said that there is an incredible amount of reading has increased among the children with the help of this gamification model. So this is exactly the things which they have developed. The diagram shows that how the interface was developed using the children's motivation of using the diagram as shown in this basically. Then there was a group B also looked into some of the story building process. So they came up with a dashboard where this, based on this app, a dashboard, a story can be built, and the children can get awards, their parents can also check, and it's a kind of a child's progress dashboard, which is very interesting as far as the reading is concerned, that has been developed into that. So this is how the things comes, that you have completed a certain focus time, So you get a congratulations on that. Automatically these things get generated into that. So the entire concept was based on augmented reality to improve the human's ability to orient in space, such as processing information in a visual area. AR can enhance the individual's perception of surroundings and understanding of the task they need to accomplish. And the navigation system integrates the spatial characteristics of the library, provides children with space in line with their recognition, and which can stimulate the children's curiosity and meet their needs for information. So I will quickly, because time is going out, so it's a very big case study actually. So a lot of navigation system was developed in a process. I can share my presentation also with everybody. But at the end, I would like to tell you that please read the book by Alex Pantla and his Nicholas Sandy, where I've talked about that how when you are developing a social media platform, we are developing a website, we are developing anything, how it has to be, I mean, it has to be an appealing, it has to be an acceptance among your stakeholders, how you can make and how good ideas can spread. And this is a new science which is coming up in a big way to understand more and more. He's a very big professor at MIT, and all his 5 students are doing research in the field of users experience and customer centric experiences and all. So one of the important thing is that when we are in a service industry, we are always revolving around what is called as users, and we need to understand their sentiments, and we need to calculate the sentiment. We need to carry out the sentiment analytics. In fact, IBM has come up with a very big model on sentiment analytics. Maybe some other presentations I will do that how we should go and look at my users who are there in the library. So I'll end here before a quote from there by Thomas Friedman, The World is Flat, A Brief History of the 21st Century. He said that never before in the history of the planet have so many people on their own had the ability to find so much information about so many things, about so many other people. So thank you. Let's discuss. I mean, if there are questions, I would be happy to answer. Thank you very much. Thanks once again to DELNET and Dr. Sangeeta for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shantanu, for a truly a scintillating presentation of yours. It was highly insightful. It was highly empowering. Undoubtedly, I must say that on the eve of this festival of lights, Diwali, you have truly illuminated each and every one with such an enlightened talk of yours. Many things, many takeaways. I think whatever you have spoken today, that was out of your vast experience that you hold on the subject. We have truly felt very happy in organizing this session, and this has just been like a prelude to something more, bigger workshops to happen, as you now have, you are the one now, I think in a country like India, when we think about the person who is practically at the helm of affairs, who have been trying to implement also. It's not just simply holding an experience, the experience out of your actions, that you have already done a lot in this area. And we really look forward to having some collaborative workshops, more in-person workshops even, to take it to the next level. And because whatever you have spoken about, if you just think about this gamification, even in our libraries, and how many of our libraries in India have really gone to that level in introducing these concepts, or how many of us have gone into this sentiment analysis just towards a fake, and you have mentioned about it, and also the MIT professor who are doing a lot. I think there's a greater need to also deliberate, and not just simply to deliberate, but also to see to it that we are able to embrace these newer concepts, because they hold a great relevance in the field of libraries and for each one of us. Thank you so very much, Dr. Shantanu, for such a very highly empowering talk, because each one of us, through this presentation of yours, I'm strongly of the viewpoint that each one of us would really like to do more introspection, and also to see that how far have we done, in our respective institutions. Even a small little point that you mentioned, the pain points, the pain points that you mentioned. How many of us really, when we deal and when we are working with our users, how many of us really think about, looking into those areas and what are the pain points, for our users community? We really just think about, giving them more services and looking into making them more, kind of delightful experiences for them. But to work for on the ground, to know about, and this, the case studies that you have mentioned about, they have been truly the eye openers, that how, holistically one has to look at the, this entire picture and then to work collectively. Thank you so very much. Really can't thank you enough, Dr. Shantanu. And I know that paucity of time just in 1 hour session, but you have really done, such a tremendous work of, making each one of us felt truly empowered with this presentation. And this has really set a ground for having more deliberation on the same very topic. And we would definitely be approaching you to have some very, maybe kind of an symposia, we may like to have it, just to deliberate on a couple of things, concentrating and focusing more on the UX and also these emerging technologies in these areas, how we can collectively, co-create and, bring together these and, create that kind of a workforce, a knowledge base. But thank you so very much for really making it more an illuminating, talk for each one of us. Thank you very much, Dr. Shantanu. And we would now like to make the floor open for questions. And we have nearly 500 attendees over here at this platform right now. And I could see that even when you were speaking, we were able to notice it, that many of our attendees were raising their hands and they have been really wanting to. And they were also, I must say that a few of I was getting tempted to say that at least have a little sip of water, because you were just being, but I was able to see that I was not wanting to disturb you because you were being just engrossed, with the deliberations, and as you hold a great experience on that. And thank you so very much, Shantanu, for this, for such a very impactful, highly impactful talk of yours. You can have a little water before you take the questions from the attendees, and we would like to make the floor opened. I would now like to request all our colleagues over here who have joined us online, please raise your digital hand, and we would just be requesting each one of you, maybe for another 15 minutes time. We may like to take a little more time of yours, Shantanu, another 15 minutes time. So the floor is now entirely open for our colleagues over here. Just kindly raise your digital hand, and we will really be delighted, to connect you with Dr. Shantanu so that you can ask your query to her. So let me firstly go to Samit Mondal. This is for you, Samit. I'm unmuting you and requesting you to unmute yourself. This is for you, Samit Mondal. I have unmuted you, requesting you please unmute yourself, and you may ask the question to Dr. Shantanu. Samit Mondal, could you please unmute yourself? If not, Samit, I have to go and approach our next colleague, Sunil Kumar. This is for you, Mr. Sunil Kumar. Could you please unmute yourself? This is for you, Mr. Sunil Kumar. Could you please unmute yourself, Sunil? I've sent you an unmute request. I'm afraid I think you're not able to. Let me go to Dr. Rajkumar. Dr. Rajkumar, could you please unmute yourself? I have unmuted you. Yes, we are connected, Dr. Raj.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, very well, Raj. I know you very well. May I request you please introduce yourself? I can recognize your voice and hear very well. Please
thank you, ma'am, and I congratulate Dr. Shantanu Ganguly sir for this wonderful presentation. After a long time, I'm attending a program which is really novel, and it's really a pleasure to attend this session. Dr. Ganguly, my question is really related to the design thinking and the system analysis and design. So I was wondering, actually, like it's the same concept because lots of things I found in this design thinking is similar to what we did in system analysis and design in computer science. So I'm not able to actually, understand, is it the upgraded version of the SAD, or it's a totally a new concept that design thinking has emerged. So if you can,
Well, Raj, thanks. I know only this kind of question can come from you only. So actually, Raj, frankly speaking, I am also not a computer expert. The thing is that over the years, I have dealt with so many different types of library stakeholders. And today, when a particular, I have to develop a, say, for example, a website, a chat, or anything I have to develop. First and the foremost thing, what we generally do is basically we generally plunge into that what is available, we just get it implemented. That is what our aim is. But we never put ourselves into the on the shoes of the users and see how they will perceive. So
yeah,
design thinking is not a new concept. Design thinking and system analysis now, see, this is I think this design concept has evolving right now, but I think if you go back in the past, at that time also, just take an example, Cardex box. We are all aware of the Cardex box. Don't you think Cardex box is a design? Somebody must have given a thought to it, and then the Cardex box has come out. And Cardex box for so many years was providing the service to all the users. And today people are not using Cardex box. They have not a virtual Cardex box now in Koha or in Ellipsis system. But see, Cardex box was also a design. So design thinking is not at all a new concept. It is an old concept, but you can call it as an old wine in a new bottle. But yes, there are a lot of things are evolving now. When we look at it from a service point of view, I looked at it from a service point of view. I looked at it from a product point of view. This is what I can say.
Well said, Dr. Shantanu. Thank you so very much. And thank you very much, Dr. Raj. Let me introduce you to everyone. That Dr. Raj Kumar, he is a librarian at the most prestigious St. Stephen's College at Delhi. And thank you very much, Raj, for being there. And thank you very much, Dr. Shantanu. You have very correctly pointed it out that what we are talking about, this design thinking, it's the same very old concepts. Yes, the users remains at the center of our, our entire thinking. This design thinking, keeping the user, at the center of our attraction and making more user-centric approach. And the purpose remains the same, to bring in, those experiences to work, to make it in a more consistent manner, in a more constructive manner. And
Yes.
all the library professions have been doing, but yes, definitely it gives you more avenues to start thinking about it. It's not only we ourselves also, we have to, in a way, make ourselves open to the new ideation, as you have pointed it out, that how this entire content, context, technology, service, and this ideation, you have mentioned about it. And I think we need to be very open. With a very open thinking, we need to think about this design thinking. That's also very, very important enough. So thank you very much, Dr. Shantanu. I would just quickly would like to go to our next attendee, a colleague, Mr. Deepak Mehra. Deepak, we are connected right now, requesting you to please ask your question and introduce yourself firstly. Mr. Deepak Mehra, Deepak, we are connected right now. Mr. Deepak Mehra, Deepak, we are very much connected. I believe, Mr. Deepak, if you have any question, because we are connected right now with you. I believe he is having a difficulty. Let me just go to Mr. Nagaram Pulama, who is wanting to ask a question. Nagaram Pulama, could you please unmute yourself? I have unmuted you from here. This is for you, Nagaram Pulama. Could you please unmute yourself? I believe not able to. This is once again to request. We'll just quickly, if you have any difficulty in getting connected and asking the question, I request you can post your question in the chat box. This is a question coming for you, Shantanu, and this is from Achyuta Rao Datta, who is wanting to ask you, sir, what is the navigation system that you have mentioned in your presentation?
Okay, so basically navigation system is basically the augmented reality model which we the Taipei have developed that based on that workshop. So they identify the children can easily identify, say, say for they are looking for a particular book. So it creates, with the help of that, it creates a path for them to take them to the right place to get that book from the shelves. So that is actually, it is showing the path. That is what is basically that is an app mechanisms they have developed, so that it can leads you to the right path. Because see, if please try to understand, suppose you are a very small children, and if you tell them that, and you have got a very small children's library, and you tell them that your books are there in 338.46, they will not understand what is your 338. You have studied for throughout your life 338.46, what is it? You can go to that particular shelf and you can get those books. But for the children, you have to, you have to understand that how to take the books have been classified, kept there. So they came up with the map mechanisms to navigate them and take them to that particular place where they can go and fetch the book from there itself. So that's what is basically a navigation. Navigation is a simple terminology. Like even if you go to a particular website, it takes you to one page, second page, third page, fourth page. It takes you. It's a navigation. It's a simple terminology of navigation. That's all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shantanu. It looks to us now, it's just a request now coming to you from us and also from many of the attendees, because I could see that they are requesting to get your presentation file. May we have a pleasure of requesting you to have a PDF copy of this presentation? And we may like to, yes, yeah. Thank you very much, Shantanu. And also, with your permission, we may like to put the entire deliberations, the entire video recording of this entire webinar session, which will be made available, on the YouTube. So we would like to have your kind consent for it, Shantanu.
Yes, please do.
Thank you so much. So this is to inform everyone that by Monday evening, we are going to place the entire video recording on the DELNET YouTube channel of WebView, and also, as being assured by Dr. Shantanu, the presentation file also we will be placing it on the DELNET website under our programs. So you are most welcome. So thank you so much, Shantanu, once again for sparing your time, being there with us, and sharing your vast experience with each one of us. And I must say, that we have started now. So we have also, though you have deliberated on the design thinking, but you have also given us many things to think about now. And one of them is definitely to hold some very focused workshop on some of the things that you have deliberated today on. And some of them, even this gamification, using this gamification techniques in the libraries, how we can do, and setting some of the best practices, in fact, also to inspire our professional colleagues and to work for it, sentiment analysis also, and more to see that how these technologies, can there be some test beds for it? Can some of the leading institutions in the country, can work collaboratively, to create that kind of an ecosystem? And then, it is more like that everyone getting benefited and out of it. But definitely, I must say that you have inspired, as usual. That's your forte, of seeing to it that everyone feels so highly enlightened and inspired. And today we have yet again got a wonderful opportunity to witness that. Can't really thank you enough, Shantanu, and maybe have a pleasure. And I would request you to come over to DELNET, would be requesting for a cup of tea and to present this in person to you. So this is the
Sixth one.
Yes. But I believe this is the different one what we had. So many more comes your way.
I have all of them lined up here. I have all of them lined up. So this and it's a pleasure for me. This is the sixth one I am getting. Yeah, I feel so proud that this is the sixth one I'm getting.
We are so very delighted, and really we feel so humble, with your such a great, splendid support that you always, so unconditionally, that you always extend to us. No words to express how grateful we always feel for that.
Thank you. It's all Dr. HK call. Is all Dr. HK calls, guidance. It's always with us.
Undoubtedly. Yes. His blessings always are being showered in abundance, on you, Shantanu.
Yes.
God bless you. Thank you so very much for making this afternoon truly, and highly enlightened and enriching one. And it could have never been the better way, to wish everyone on the eve of this wonderful Festival of Lights, Diwali, by organizing, this highly illuminated
Happy Diwali to all my audiences, to entire audiences, more than 500 audiences.
Yes,
It's a happy
yes.
Diwali to all of you.
Yes, yeah.
Very
Thank
happy
you so very much indeed, Shantanu. And also, on behalf of DELNET, wish each one of you, your families, your colleagues, and everyone a very highly blessed and happy and most prosperous Diwali. And may we, the library and information science professionals, continue, our efforts to illuminate the path of our information seekers with our, with our efforts, with our collective efforts, and being together, and we wish you the very best. And it has truly been a pleasure having you. Just let me quickly mention that in another 1 hour's time, the certificates of appreciation of participation of your being there with us would be reaching your mailboxes. So please do kindly check that. We know that, that you would be all engrossed, in the Festival of Lights, preparing for that to welcome this festival. But yes, we truly have started the celebrations by organizing this webinar, all being courtesy of Dr. Shantanu, and we really look forward to having many more collaborative programs together and having you with us on this platform of webinars. So thank you very much, Dr. Shantanu. Thank you one and all, each one of you. Wishing you all a very happy and blessed Diwali, and we really look forward to having you back again in the future webinars. So DELNET, please mark your calendars for November 16th. Let me just mention it to you. On November 16th, from morning 11 o'clock till 1:30, we are holding an international symposium, which is with our speakers from National Library of Singapore. Mrs. Megas is going to speak about the special and rare collections. And we have Dr. Heather Brown, who will be there in person at DELNET. Those of you who would like to join us, please do so. It's on Saturday, November 16th, who will be speaking about the UNESCO's new toolkit for faster disasters. So that's the new UNESCO toolkit has come to build up that resilience, in tackling, the faster disasters.
You
and
can
how
count me in along with my team. You can count me in.
Nice, Shantanu.
I am
Thank you
personally
so
coming to meet Heather. Heather is my
Thank
old-time
you
friend,
so
so I
much.
want to meet.
Yeah. Thank you, and she's a great friend for many of us. So on 16th of November, from morning 11 o'clock till 1:30, we are going to have sessions, and we have also Mrs. Megas, who will be joining us from Singapore, from National Library Singapore, who will be speaking that how they are handling, their rare and special collections, and also how they're handling, many aspects, concerning their preservation, and also followed by another presentation by Heather, who will be there in person with us at DELNET New Delhi. It's an open invite for everyone to join us in person as well as online, and we will be notifying you post Diwali by first week of November. We are really wanting to make you all aware about it, so please do mark your calendars, and we really look forward to having you back with us on November 16th. So thank you so very much once again, and also do mark, let me just also mention 3rd of December. Please remember, 3rd of December, we are holding a talk that is a DELNET's annual lecture, again in person, by Dr. Derbinsky, who is the past president of American Library Association, who will be there with at DELNET and will be delivering the DELNET annual lecture. Again, that will be in person. She will be here, and also we will be broadcasting it online. So we will be keep on, notifying you, and we always feel, inspired with your presence. So thank you so very much once again. Wishing you all a very, very happy and blessed Diwali, and we really look forward to our very collaborative, partnerships and being together in this wonderful journey of library networking. Thank you so very much, Shantanu. Thank you so much, each one of you. We have truly felt, so grateful for your presence here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thanks.
very much. May God bless you all. Have a very good evening, and wishing you all the very best to each one of you. Thank you. Thank you, Shantanu. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thanks. Thank you.